Fred and Emmett talk about plants.
Yeah.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Fred and Emmett Plant Talks, Plant Chat. I don't think we've cemented the title yet. This is the inaugural episode. I don't think I said that word correctly. My name is Emmett, and I have my co-host over here. Want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Fred. I'm going to be doing the talk with Emmett.
Yeah, we're going to be chatting. We're going to be talking, conversating.
Yeah.
We both work at the Queen's Botanical Garden. Fred has been working there much longer than I have. Knows a ton about
50
plants.
years.
50 years. He's like the head guy. Definitely a mentor of mine. I've learned a lot from him over the comparably short amount of time I've been working at the QBG, which has been like 2 years, I think. Which everyone who's watching, the reason we've been kind of just mainly talking about tomatoes, the format of this little talk is each week, hopefully, we're going to focus on one type of plant and then kind of talk about it. We each have our strengths.
Well, while I was waiting for you, I had a chance. I had gotten these. I know we're going to be talking about this today.
That's right.
We highlight a plant every week. Look at that.
Wow. Look at that one.
And I ate part of it here.
There you go.
There was a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to show people the inside because some people would say tomato is our most popular vegetable, but according to botanists, tomato is really a fruit because in here it's really a berry, and in here you've got the little seeds in the juice. So anything that comes from a flower, here's the flower stem and has seeds in it, like cucumber or pepper. We've got a fruit. Now, I don't know whether it was you, but somebody was asking me, can you take these seeds out of a tomato you buy to eat and plant them?
We talked about that.
And you actually can. If you get some paper towels, and I'm just going to lay some of the seeds on it here.
There you go.
And you see the seed on the paper towel. I would fold that. I could take some out like that, put them on there, and fold it over. Put something not very heavy, but like a magazine or something on it. Just leave it dry for about a day, and then you can plant that. But like I was saying the other day, most of these tomatoes we buy and eat are hybrids. They're like a mixed breed dog. So if you when you cross a mixed breed dog, you're not sure what the babies are going to look like. So here, you plant these, and the odds are they're going to revert to a wild kind and look like a smaller, wilder tomato. So this would be fun. Anyone who's listening to us, if you want a nice project to do with your children while you're home, you can establish the connection between what we eat and a plant. Dry some of the seeds like this for about a day. Plant them in a flower pot.
Fred, one thing I want to talk about with tomatoes is trellising, because I think that's so interesting, is the fact that some tomatoes you grow, you need to trellis them, and I was doing some research, and maybe you know more about this than me. I bet you do, Fred. But
well, one thing to consider if you're thinking about trellising them or getting a tomato cage, you've got two groups of tomatoes, and I got a representative of one here. If you look, this says on it, Patio Tomato.
Okay.
This is the kind that would be made for growing in a container.
Gotcha.
And it's what's called Determinate. It will grow maybe about 4 feet high and then stop, and it tends to get all the fruit at once.
Very cool.
Which is not as good for some people, but the good thing about it, is that it stays a certain height. So a tomato like this would be very good if you're growing in a container. And to grow a tomato, you really need at least a 5-gallon bucket like this. You need to make drain holes in the bottom. So this is one where you would get a tomato cage, and the tomato cage would probably be enough for it. But now if you have another one, like let's say you've got Big Boy here.
Wow.
Big Boy is a very popular tomato.
Oh, it's the name of the tomato.
Larger. Yeah, that's the name of it, Big Boy tomato. This is what's known as indeterminate.
Yeah.
In other words, the one that I showed you was determinate. It grows to a certain height. This just keeps on growing.
They'll grow.
What these do is they make side branches and get the fruit on the sides.
Yeah.
The one I showed you, the patio one, gets most of the fruit at the terminus of the plant at the top. So one like this, you would need a stake. This tomato has the potential of growing about maybe 8 feet tall. Or so when you stake a tomato like this, you're not going to get a little bamboo stake, mamby-pamby bamboo stake like this. Yeah. You got to get like solid. A 1 inch diameter, 8-foot stake, like a figure 8 here.
Interesting.
And my tomato is going to go through here, and this part goes around the stake. So it's like that. And that gives a little flexibility.
Yeah,
so the stake isn't rubbing the stem.
Got you.
And if it's a windy day, it doesn't snap it off. It's got a little movement, and the stem can get thicker, and it won't cut into it.
Yeah. So the indeterminate tomatoes, I mean, Fred's right.
Indeterminate can get quite tall.
Yeah, they can get super big.
Technically are perennials. They can, if they were growing in a greenhouse, they can live more than 1 year and get maybe 10 feet tall, but we treat them as annuals. The determinate ones, like the patio one for containers, they're really an annual plant. Once they make all their fruit up at the top, that's it for them.
Now, tomatoes are super cool. Me and Fred did some research. Apparently, back in the day, they weren't that popular, right? Because people thought they were poisonous.
Yeah, they go way back to like, they say the Aztecs were already growing them, according to records, way back in the year 500. And Columbus came, they were already growing them. Cortez came. There's a little debate over who brought them over first, Columbus or Cortez. But like you say, around the Mediterranean, some of the people adapted tomatoes because the Spanish people brought them all over after they started exploring here, to the Caribbean and all over. But the funny thing was, it pays to be poor because what happened, the well-to-do people would eat on pewter plates, and the acid in the tomatoes releases the lead from the pewter plate, and people would get lead poisoning. The poor people, they just ate on wood plates, so they didn't have any problem. And this is why when immigrants started coming to this country, the poor Italian people, the laborers and so on, they introduced the tomato because they were used to eating it. Called them poisonous love apples. And a lot of people would just grow them as an ornament, like the way we grow gourds. They would have them in a bowl on the table because they look pretty.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I didn't know that, and the tomato is one of my favorite plants. I love the tomato. And when I was looking up when a lot of people think of tomatoes, they do think of Italy. And I think, again, the fact that it got so popular was, spices at that time were very expensive. So tomato-based soups became really popular because they were also very flavorful. And if you kind of look through history, a lot of the modern cuisine that countries eat now, so many of them stem from the kind of poor, like country cooking, rural cooking from those nations, from the kind of innovation that a lot of the lower income communities had to do to kind of adapt to make the best of
They
what
had
they
to try
could.
things, yeah.
Yeah. So
And tomato is a relatively easy thing to grow. It's actually grown more than anything else that's in the vegetable garden, more than any other kind of vegetable or fruit. People grow tomatoes. By the way, you know, another thing that popularized it, I think of pizza as a modern thing, but it goes back a little ways. They say in Naples, there was a chef to commemorate the taking of the throne by Queen Marguerite, because there had not been a queen in Italy since Napoleon took it over. So he came up with this coating on the pizza topping with basil, green, the white cheese, and the red tomato, the three colors of the Italian flag. And they had margherita pizza, which we still have. We found out in looking up things for this class, that's where the name comes from.
Yeah, type of tomatoes. And I think when people think about plants like tomatoes or cucumbers, like they don't realize just how many different types of these things there are. And the hybridization, like we have really taken a lot of these plants. I mean, humans have been working with these things since the Aztecs. Like that's such a long time ago. And we've really taken these tomatoes and all the plants that we eat and kind of shaped them to our needs and really kind of like change them in so many ways. It's really interesting. And I kind of have it up here next week. Well, I forget, what were we going to talk about next week?
Next week, have you ever heard, folks, of Calibrachoa? Probably not.
Probably not.
But you'll recognize it when you see it. It's a relative of the petunia. And if you're late getting your garden started, you can get these in the nursery, plug them in. They're resistant to dryness. We'll tell you more about them next time. And that's what we're looking at next time is some flowers you can use if you're getting a late start to plug in and get summer-long color.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to be talking about all sorts of plants. Thanks, everyone, for watching the first episode of Fred and Emmett Plant Chat. I had a great time. I feel like I'm a tomato master now. I don't know about all of you watching at home, but it was great talking to you, Fred. As always.
Nice seeing you. Thank you for your patience getting us on the air. I'll do better next time.
Nah, it's all good. We're here, and that's all that matters. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and hope you have a great rest of your week.
Fred and Emmett talk about plants.